You know, when you look at an optical illusion and you just see this chaotic mess of squiggles.
Oh, yeah. Just total static.
Right, but then the person next to you looks at the exact same ink and they see, like, a sailboat.
Yeah, the classic magic eye posters.
Exactly. Well, welcome to the deep dive, because today we are exploring this mind-bending concept that ancient biblical laws were actually engineered to do exactly that to human perception.
To literally change what your eyes are capable of seeing.
Yes. We're unpacking this really fascinating analytical lesson by Hadassah Jacobs. She goes by Hadas, and it's titled Torah Teaches Us How to See. She focuses on a biblical section known as Parshat Re'eh.
And the mission of this deep dive, for you listening, is to really flip how we view ancient codes.
Right, because, I mean, we tend to think of these things as just, dusty theological regulations.
Yeah, just strict rules dictating human behavior, do this, don't do that.
But this text suggests that they are actually a masterclass in the mechanics of perception. It's training a society to look at ordinary, everyday situations and perceive an entirely different layer of reality.
It is. It's a profound invitation to upgrade how we view the mundane world around us. And because, we assume that if our eyes physically work, we just automatically see what's in front of us.
Right, biology doing its job.
Exactly. But the mechanics of sight and the mechanics of perception are two completely different systems. And Haddas's text argues that through specific daily routines and laws, you can literally train the eye to see things that a different observer would just, they'd completely miss it.
So let's jump straight into the operating system of this kind of site, because Parshat Re'eh opens with one single word, right? Reeh.
Which simply translates to see.
Yeah. I mean, Moses is standing at the edge of the promised land. He's about to drop this massive body of commandments on the Israelites, and his opening command is just see.
See. Just see.
Not listen up, not memorize this, not guard these traditions, just see.
And that choice of words is highly intentional when you look at the historical context. Moses could have leaned on other deeply foundational concepts there.
Like what?
Well, he could have used Shema, which means to hear. Or he could have used Zachor, to remember, or even Shemor, to guard.
But he prioritizes sight.
He prioritizes sight. He says, see, I set before you today blessing and curse. And what's fascinating here is that the blessing he mentions is then immediately tied back to hearing.
Right. The condition for the blessing is if you listen.
Exactly. And in this biblical framework, hearing is never just the passive reception of sound waves hitting your eardrum.
It's not just audio.
No. To hear means to receive the information, internalize it, and then respond to it with concrete action.
Yeah.
So there's this deliberate movement mapped out in the text.
From seeing to doing.
Right. It goes from see to hear, which includes doing the required action. And then through that obedience, you learn to see anew.
Wow.
Yeah, your vision is actually clarified and refined by your actions.
Okay, let's unpack this, because this is where the structure of the text itself becomes so important. We're looking at chapters 12 through 26 of Deuteronomy, which is known as the Deuteronomic Code.
The big rule book.
Yeah, and when I first heard the word code, my mind immediately went to, like, a secret cipher.
Like the Da Vinci Code or something.
Exactly. Some hidden puzzle you need a decoder ring to solve. But it's not that at all. It's much more like a smartphone's operating system.
Oh, I like that. It's the background architecture that runs everything.
Right. It's the OS running quietly beneath the surface of everyday life. I mean, this code covers worship in temples, sure, but it also covers what you eat for dinner.
And how you manage your debts.
How judges operate in a courtroom, the rules of war, how you handle poverty, and what you do with real estate.
There is absolutely zero division between the spiritual and the ordinary.
None. The marketplace and the kitchen are just as much a part of this code as the sacred altar. So if this code is just running in the background of a society's daily life, how does simply following these settings, train a person's brain to actually discern things differently over time?
Well, the key lies in the Hebrew language itself. The Hebrew root for understanding, which is bina, and the word for discernment share the exact same root letters.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So understanding in this ancient framework isn't about accumulating trivia or memorizing facts for a test.
It's not head knowledge.
Right. It's the active ability to distinguish, to contrast, and to separate things. You are constantly separating the holy from the common.
The permitted from the forbidden.
Exactly. Justice from injustice.
So you're making 100 tiny choices a day.
And every single one of those choices is a micro distinction. When your operating system, your code, requires you to pause and think about what kind of meat you can eat.
Or how you have to leave the corners of your field unharvested for the poor?
Yes. Or how you treat your employees at the end of the work week. You are exercising a very specific cognitive muscle over and over again.
It's like you're training your brain's autofocus.
That's a great way to put it. Obedience to this OS sharpens your discernment. It teaches a society to recognize the divine order hiding right there inside of the most ordinary, mundane aspects of life.
Because it's so embedded.
Right. You aren't just following a rule, you are fundamentally changing what you are capable of seeing in the world around you.
So how does this operating system handle something completely unforgiving, like money?
Ah, yeah, the hard stuff.
Right. Because we move from this abstract philosophy straight into hard economics in Deuteronomy chapter 15, which focuses on this seventh year rhythm of release.
And we really need to make a careful distinction here for the listener.
Yeah, go for it.
Because many people might be familiar with the concept of Shemitah, which is the agricultural resting of the land every 7 years.
Where you just don't plant anything?
Right, but that's detailed back in Leviticus 25. Deuteronomy 15 focuses on a different aspect of this 7-year rhythm. It's about the literal release of financial debts.
And the freeing of Hebrew servants who have served for 6 years, right?
Exactly.
Okay, wait. From a modern listener's perspective, this is where the system just seems to break down completely.
How so?
Well, releasing all financial debts every 7 years sounds like absolutely terrible economic policy.
Oh, on a purely earthly level, definitely.
I mean, how does any society, any business, or any banking system actually function if everyone knows you're just going to wipe the ledger clean on a set schedule? It wouldn't.
Yeah. The goal of this rule isn't to balance a spreadsheet or create some utopian banking sector. It's a profound perceptual intervention.
Okay, an intervention on what?
On human nature. Think about the natural human assumption we all carry. We look around and think, this is my land, this is my money, this is my employee.
We assume our ownership is absolute and permanent.
Exactly. We anchor our entire identity to what we possess. We build our whole reality around it. But the 7th-year rhythm acts as a forced systemic interruption of that assumption.
So it's forcing a reset.
It forces the farmer, the creditor, and the master to pause and ask a deeply uncomfortable question.
Which is?
Who really owns what? It shatters the illusion that ownership, or on the flip side, servitude, is a permanent identity.
Oh, wow. So the creditor discovers that a financial debt does not grant them an unlimited claim over another human being's future.
Right. And the master discovers that servitude cannot be a permanent state for a person. It's an intervention designed to break the illusion of permanence.
But, I mean, if you know the 7th year is coming, and you know all debts are going to be canceled, human nature is going to kick in anyway, right?
Of course it is. And the text actually anticipates this exact economic anxiety. It warns about a concept called the evil eye.
Yeah, this part is wild. Deuteronomy 15.9 specifically warns that as the year of release approaches, a person might look at a needy brother asking for a loan and think, the release year is close. If I lend him this money now, I'm never going to get it back.
And in earthly terms, that calculation is mathematically 100% correct.
Totally. Any financial advisor today would look at that scenario and tell you, do not make that loan. It's a terrible investment with guaranteed loss.
But the Torah drops this heavy warning. Beware lest your eye become evil toward your needy brother.
Which is key because the text doesn't say the math is evil.
No, not at all.
The problem is in the eye.
Exactly. If we connect this to the bigger picture, it changes the entire definition of the evil eye. It isn't some mystical curse or superstition like we usually think of it.
Right.
It's a literal failure of vision. The observer is looking at the exact same man standing in front of them, but instead of seeing a brother in need, the eye has narrowed. It only sees a financial risk.
It's the same man, but a completely different restricted sight.
Yes.
Here's where it gets really interesting. It's like physically changing the focal length on a camera lens.
What do you mean?
Well, earthly accounting is like having a macro lens on, right? You are zoomed all the way in on the ledger, the risk, the immediate transaction right in front of your face.
Oh, I see.
The math makes perfect sense, but the frame is tiny. The Torah is trying to force you to swap that out for a wide-angle lens, and it actually gives you a tool to do that, which Hadas calls repositioning.
And the repositioning of the observer is one of the most powerful mechanisms in the text. Because when a servant finally goes free in that 7th year, the master is commanded not to send him away empty-handed.
Right, you can't just say, see ya.
No, he has to furnish the freed servant generously from his flock and his threshing floor. And the text provides the reasoning for this command. It says, remember that you were a slave in the land of Egypt.
So the text uses memory as a literal tool to correct your vision.
Exactly.
By reminding you where you used to stand as a slave, it changes what you see right now in your role as a master.
It changes what you see by changing where you are standing in your own mind. If you only view yourself as the owner, you naturally calculate loss.
Because that's all there is to see.
Right. But if you remember that you were once the slave, and you remember who actually redeemed you and gave you the land in the first place, the entire equation shifts.
The wide-angle lens.
Yes. Earthly accounting says if I give this money away or if I free this servant and give him my livestock, I have less. And physically, that's true. The money really does leave your hand.
You are poorer on paper.
But covenantal sight, that wide-angle lens, sees the transaction and something more. It sees the divine inside the equation.
So it doesn't deny the earthly reality. It doesn't pretend the money is still in the bank. It just says the earthly reality is incomplete.
That's the crucial distinction. The lender's vision is mathematically correct, but spiritually wrong. It is accurate, but incomplete.
That is so profound. Accurate, but incomplete. So if earthly accounting is accurate but incomplete, what does a person look like who has actually mastered this complete vision?
What does the ideal look like?
Yeah. What does it look like when a human being runs this operating system perfectly? The text points to a specific historical figure who embodies this, right? Samuel.
Samuel. He is explicitly referred to in Scripture as the Reeh, the seer.
The seer.
His entire life development is a perfect case study of this concept of moving from simply hearing to truly seeing.
Even as a kid, he had to learn this. I mean, the text notes that as a child sleeping in the temple, Samuel heard a voice calling to him in the night.
Right, but his discernment wasn't there yet.
Exactly. He heard the physical sound, but he thought it was his mentor, Eli, calling him from the other room. The biological hearing was functioning perfectly.
But it had to evolve into discernment. He had the raw data, the auditory input, but he lacked the perception to interpret it correctly.
He didn't have the OS running yet.
No, he had to learn to say, "Speak, for your servant is listening." He had to align his perception to recognize a different layer of reality. And we see the ultimate result of that training much later when he's an adult, during his interaction with Saul.
Oh, this story's perfect for this. Saul is out looking for his father's lost donkeys.
Yeah, Saul comes to Samuel purely out of desperation over these donkeys. Saul is operating entirely on earthly reality. The donkeys are missing, they represent lost wealth. He needs to find them. End of story.
He's looking through the macro lens.
Entirely. But Samuel, the Reeh, looks at Saul and doesn't just see a frustrated guy looking for livestock. He sees a future king.
Because Samuel doesn't deny that the donkeys are missing. He isn't delusional, but he sees what is happening through the missing donkeys. And this brings us to what the lesson outlines as the 4 levels of seeing.
This is great framework.
It's the ultimate rubric for applying this entire concept to daily life. So level 1 is the obvious.
Right. This is what is physically happening right in front of you. It's the raw data. The donkeys are gone. The spreadsheet is unbalanced. The neighbor is asking for a loan.
It's just the facts. Then level 2 is the obscure.
And this requires a bit more depth and investigation. What are the underlying patterns, the human motives, or the hidden consequences beneath the obvious event?
Like, why did the donkeys wander off in the first place?
Exactly. What market forces are causing the spreadsheet to fail? What is the root cause of the neighbor's financial crisis?
Okay, then we zoom out even further to level 3, which is the heavenly.
This is where you consult the operating system. You ask, what does the revelation, the Torah, the code say about this kind of situation? What is the broader spiritual framework for dealing with loss or poverty or justice or leadership?
You're checking the manual. And finally, level 4, the absolute peak of this perception, the intersection.
This is where you ask, where is the divine order meeting ordinary human reality right here, in this exact messy moment?
Wow.
The missing donkeys aren't just missing donkeys. They are the exact mechanism being used to maneuver a future king into the presence of a prophet.
It's the vehicle.
Yes. The poor man asking for a loan isn't just a financial liability. He is a divine appointment actively testing your covenantal sight.
So what does this all mean for you, the listener? Let's take these 4 levels out of the ancient text and drop them into a modern scenario.
Let's do it.
Say you are dealing with your own missing donkeys this week. Let's say you just got passed over for a major promotion at work.
Ouch.
You put in the hours, you did the work, and they gave the job to someone else. It's devastating. How do you apply these 4 levels so you don't just get stuck at level 1, obsessing over the obvious frustration.
Well, you walk through the framework. Level 1, the obvious.
Yeah.
You didn't get the job. The rejection is real, and the loss of income is real.
You don't ignore that.
No, you have to acknowledge it. Then level 2, the obscure. You look at the office politics, the budget constraints, or maybe, and this is hard, maybe a gap in your own skill set that you've been ignoring.
Yeah.
You analyze the hidden earthly factors.
Then you move to level 3, the heavenly. You look at what your foundational values and texts say about ambition, about finding purpose outside of a title.
Right, about humility and trusting a larger plan.
And that prepares you for level 4, the intersection.
Exactly. You stop looking at the rejection as a dead end and you start looking at it as a mechanism.
Like the donkeys.
Like the donkeys.
Yeah.
You ask, is this closed door actually a redirection? Is the frustration I'm feeling right now the exact pressure required to push me out of a comfortable job and into a completely different path that I never would have chosen on my own?
That is a complete paradigm shift.
It is. The Torah does not teach us to ignore the visible earthly world in order to somehow gaze up and see heaven. It teaches the exact opposite.
It trains us to look at the visible, mundane, earthly world deeply enough and with enough discernment to recognize heaven moving through it.
Beautifully said. The friction you're experiencing at work, the unexpected cost, the interpersonal conflict, these aren't just arbitrary obstacles. If you apply the operating system, they are intersections.
It's an invitation to just look again, which, honestly, circles us all the way back to that very first word Moses spoke. Reeh! See? The ultimate goal of all these seemingly random routines, the disruptive rhythms of debt release, the intentional memory of where you came from, is to shape your capacity for discernment.
To train the eye.
It's like staring at that chaotic optical illusion we talked about at the beginning. If you just glance at the ink with your earthly accounting lens, you see a mess. You see a bad loan, lost donkeys, a frustrating career setback.
Just static.
But if you hold your focus, if you let the operating system do its work and force you to look deeper, the true image eventually snaps into place. You see the brother, you see the future king, you see the redirection.
This raises an important question, though, because cultivating this kind of sight is a lifelong, grueling discipline.
Oh, for sure.
It requires immense self-awareness and honesty.
Which leads perfectly into the final lingering thought I want to leave you with today. As you go through your week dealing with your own everyday routines and frustrations, and you try to practice this deeper, wide-angle covenantal sight, ask yourself this. How do you cultivate this high level of discernment without accidentally confusing your own personal assumptions, your own ego, or your own imagination with what the divine is actually doing?
That is the ultimate trap, isn't it?
It really is. When you look at your reality and try to find the intersection, are you seeing what is truly there? Or are you just seeing what you want to see?
A vital question for anyone trying to truly see.
Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive. Keep looking closely, and we'll catch you next time.